everybody, Justina here, Senior Gold Ambassador. So I wanted to share a really great aha moment that I had from this week's book club. And so one person was sharing and they talked about how there can be a disconnect kind of between doing Plexus as a job and doing other jobs. And that was a really huge aha moment for me because I realized from the reading myself, but then also when they said that has been true for me. So I wanted to share this story with you guys in hopes that it might uplift and inspire you. So I have always been the type of person who wanted to be the very best at whatever it was that I was doing. And a long time ago, I got a job as a dishwasher in a kitchen at a college. And the reason that I did this is because I really wanted to work cooking, but I didn't have any professional cooking experience. And anyone who knows how kitchens work, you know that you have to have experience before they let you cook. So I get this job as a dishwasher and I make a plan to myself that I am going to be the very best dishwasher that there ever was, and that would allow them to give me the chance to cook. So my very first day I went in, I washed all of the dishes really quickly. I put them up, all of that. I went to the chef, which that's what they call the head of the kitchen, was chef. So I went to chef and was like, hey, I have all the dishes done. Is there any chance that I could help the other cooks prep? And he was like, what? All the dishes are done? And I was like, yeah, they're all done. And he almost didn't believe me. So he came to check. My sinks were empty. Everything was dried, put away. He even checked on the shelves to make sure the dishes were actually clean. And he was like, like, that's weird. And so funny thing is, he didn't actually tell me yes that day. He did not tell me like, yeah, you can go prep. He's like, oh, I want you to help me organize the freezer. And I was like, ugh, but okay. So I did it. Each day I got a little bit better at developing a system for how I would get the dishes done. So what I would do is I would start to let the dishes pile up in the sink when there was about 5 or 6 of them. And these are like industrial kitchen size dishes, so they're not like your normal house dishes. I would start the sink of water and I would start washing everything and then just move it into the rinse sink. And there's like a cycle in a kitchen. You have to wash, rinse, sanitize, rinse again, put on the drying rack, dry them fully, and then put them away. So I would develop this system and I would just repeat it. And each day I would get some extra time. And with that extra time, I would go to chef and I'd be like, hey, can I help prep today? And for weeks he would say no. And he would have me clean out storage. He'd have me organize things. He'd have me work on the freezer stuff, like whatever. Finally, one day there was actually an opening for a cook position and I was like, oh my gosh, so I wanted to apply and everything. I did. And he was like, no, I'm sorry, you don't have any experience. And I was like, he's like, but today you can prep. And so then he started letting me prep. I continued my system because it was at a college. We were actually assigned students to help us at our different stations. And so I ended up duplicating my system that I had created. I taught my students my system so that once they saw so many dishes in the sink, they would start the water for me and be like, hey, Justina, they'd come get me from prepping. Like, it's, your sink is starting to fill up. We started the water for you. I would wash all of the dishes, put them into the rinse sink. A student would just grab them from the rinse sink, pop them into the sanitizer sink, and then another student would pop them from the sanitizer sink into the second rinse and then on the rack. And then by the time that I was done washing, everything was on the rack. I could grab it, dry it, put it away. It was incredible. Everyone was obviously really impressed that not only was I doing the entirety of my work, which normally people would get paid for an entire 12-hour shift for, but that I was also having extra time to do other things. And after a while of prepping, another opportunity came up where there was a cook position and I applied for it and I was given it. And so this made me think about how we need to show up in this business just like it is any other job, guys. I always, to this job, I would arrive 5 minutes early exactly because they had a rule where you could clock in up to 5 minutes early. So every single day I would stand there and wait and clock in at exactly 5 minutes early. I would go, I would get myself organized, I would do my system. I then would go do the other things initially, or then go work on prep work. And then eventually I was able to get to my goal, which was getting to cook in the kitchen. And it's just one of my favorite memories. about how I figured out a way to do something that most other people would not have gotten the opportunity to do because they didn't just hire people with no experience there. So all of that to say, that's how we get to be diamond. You have to show up as the very best that you can in all of the ways. Even if you have just only placed your order and you're just a VIP, or you're just a silver, or you think, oh, I'm just a senior silver. What? No, you have to be the very best dishwasher that there ever was. So for your business, are you showing up 5 minutes early for your business hours? Are you clocking in mentally? Are you getting yourself organized? Do you have a plan? Do you have a system to follow? And are you duplicating that system for the people that are there to help you grow your business? It's exactly like what I did with washing dishes. And for me, it was just a huge aha moment because I realized I don't always show up for Plexus like I showed up when I wanted the job as cook. And right now I don't want to cook, I want to be diamond.